It then says company's fraudulent intention. And this is very interesting. It says the employer can be imprisoned for a period of 6 months. Hey guys, so as you know, Ash has not been paying his Hyderabad employees, and recently Oz posted an article about it, so I thought we would go through that quickly and just talk about some of the options that the employees in India have here in terms of what can they do in order to get their payment and how much trouble could Ash Mufareh truly be in. You won't want to miss it, so I'm going to roll that intro. We'll get right into it.
Karma's a bitch.
So first, I thought we would just go over the article that Oz published. It's just a really good sum up of what's going on at the Hyderabad office right now. On-passive employees in India strike after 6 months no pay. This was published on July 23rd. Following non-payment of salaries for 6 months, 200 on-passive employees in India have gone on strike. Sakshi reports that the on-passive strike is accompanied by a report filed at Badhapur police station in Hyderabad. Speaking with Sakshi, on-passive employees claimed they were facing serious difficulties due to salaries. They have the blurb here. Management of the company is delaying the payment of salaries by saying today is tomorrow. On-passive's employees have vowed to continue the strike until they are paid. The strike coincides with the collapse of On-passive's website and services earlier this month. Instead of just being honest about their employees going on strike, On-passive framed the collapse as making improvements to our service. And as you'll notice here, the only way that you can get this message is if you try to log into the OES from the main landing page of onpassive.com, or if you go to onpassive.com/OES, and then there's a message on the page that reads, "Ecosystem is temporarily unavailable. Our website is currently unavailable while we make some improvements to our service. We'll be open for business again soon. Please come back shortly to try again. Thank you for your patience." It has been down for a month and 1 day now. Friday the 26th was exactly a month. The SEC sued On-passive owner Ash Mufareh and his wife in August 2023. The SEC is alleging $108 million in fraud, most of which Mufareh is believed to have pocketed. Mufareh, a resident of Florida, he's Florida man, hasn't publicly addressed the On-passive strike or why he stopped paying employees 6 months ago. Presently, On-passive, Mufareh and the SEC are engaged in settlement discussions, failing a resolution which will likely see Mufareh hit with disgorgement and a hefty civil penalty. A trial has been scheduled for June 2nd, 2025. I am also hoping that they do the director's bar, which means that Ash would then no longer be able to be the CEO, owner, or operator of a business in future. That would then, of course, stop him from scamming in future, so that would be good. But are the Hyderabad employees just kind of stuck picketing, having their background checks messed with, being fired if they ask for their pay, or is there something that they can do here? Luckily, there are legal consequences of non-payment of an employee's salary by the employer. The rights of employees are protected by Indian law to a great extent. Generally, the employers have a notion that the employees are not well aware of the rights that come with their employment, and hence they can be fired at any point, or the non-payment of wages can be done without any consequences. But the law protects such cases of non-payment of rightful wages or salary to the employees. So now the laws regarding payment of wages. Contract labor, regulation, and abolition. According to Section 21 of this Act, a contractor will have to pay the employees he hires on a contractual basis. If such payment is not made, then the principal employer has to pay the contract labor. Then there's the Shops and Establishment Act. It is no doubt that many states have different rules and laws regarding the payment of wages when it comes to governing the conduct of shops and establishments that are there in different states. But at the same time, the model law, which lays down the fabric for the laws to be framed by states, says that if an employer works more than the usual hours of working, if they sleep at the office and work around the clock, then he shall be paid twice the rate of his salary. If the employer defaults on payments in such conditions, then the fine levied is around 2 lakhs. I think that's how you say that. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. There is also the Wages Act. This law includes 2 more laws in it, namely the Minimum Wages Act and the Payment of Wages Act. These 2 laws are the main laws regarding the payment of wages to the employees by their employers. The Minimum Wage Act provides for the minimum wage that every worker is entitled to. The minimum payment depends on the kind of work the worker is carrying out. It varies on a state-to-state basis. The other law, which is the Payment of Wages Act, refers to the on-time payment of wages to employers without unreasonable delay. I feel like 6 months is unreasonable. To ensure that these laws are complied with properly, the government has appointed some special officers to supervise the matters or issues that might arise concerning the contravention of these laws. These officers are: number 1, a commission is appointed for workmen's compensation. Number 2, there is a regional labor commission to look over these disputes. And 3, the presiding officer of the Industrial Tribunal is also an important officer of the law when it comes to such disputes. Section 4 of the Payment of Wages Act talks about salary distribution and states that the salary distribution can only be extended to a fixed amount of time and not more than that. Then there is also the Industrial Disputes Act. Section 33C of the Act talks about the payment which is due to the employee and its recovery. When the money is due to an employee, he can file a suit regarding this in the appropriate court and get the money recovered if the court is satisfied with the veracity of the claims made. This section also covers cases where the employees die and the salary arrears are recovered by the heirs of the employee from the employer. Legal action or remedies available in case of non-payment of salary or wages. So if you are in the Hyderabad office, these are the steps that you need to take. Number 1 is send legal notice. A legal notice should be sent as the first step towards the redressal of non-payment of salary. In this notice, the employee is required to attach the employment contract along with a copy of the bank statement which acts as proof of non-payment of salary. The employee can mention the consequences of non-payment of salary. In most cases, sending a legal notice is enough for the employer to pay the salary arrears because nobody wants to step into litigation, unless they're Ash Mufareh. The second step is approaching the labor commissioner. The main duty of the labor commissioner is to reconcile everything between the employee and the employer and address the issue of non-payment after analyzing everything available. It is generally advised for the employee to attach a copy of the legal notice and bank statement along with the employment contract to bolster the case. Number 3, labor court. If the labor commissioner is not able to address the dispute, the employee can file a suit under Section 33C of the Industrial Disputes Act and can approach the court with the complaint. However, the employee can approach the court within 1 year from the default in payment of salary, and the labor court cannot take more than 3 months to adjudicate the matter. And if you filed right now, you could hopefully get this matter handled before the end of the year. They then say, but there's an exception, which states that in cases where the presiding officer of the labor court feels like it is expedient in the interests of justice to extend the time limit of 3 months, then the time limit can be extended. You need a really good reason for that. I don't know if Ash would get that. The next step is arbitration. Since arbitration is becoming one of the most frequently used dispute settlement mechanisms in most employment contracts, an arbitration clause is present nowadays. In case of any default on the same, the matter can be adjudicated by the arbitral tribunal. And number 5 is application in National Company Law Tribunal. An application before the NCLT can also be made under the provisions of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, provided that the minimum unpaid salary must not be less than 1 lakh rupees and the maximum amount of unpaid salary should not exceed 1 crore rupees. Documents that are needed at all times. So make sure you're taking notes. These are the documents you need. A copy of the employment contract is needed at all times when undertaking any of the remedies available to the employee. You should have gotten a copy of that when you were hired. Always hang on to paperwork like this until long after you've left that place of employment. The next thing is a bank statement, and you also need a joining letter of the employee which acts as proof that the employee is a worker in the employer's company. It then says company's fraudulent intention, and this is very interesting because it says if the company has fraudulent intentions, and that is the reason behind the non-payment of salary, then the law adds a layer of protection for the employees and specifies other legal routes for them. These legal remedies are: the employee can file a suit under Section 447 of the Companies Act, which lays down punishment for fraud. And I would recommend doing that and using the SEC litigation as well in the USA to show that they're already being investigated elsewhere for fraud. That's also why it's good that's going on. It says the employer can be imprisoned for a period of 6 months to 10 years. Recovery of the full amount of an amount that is 3 times more than the amount which was originally not paid by the employer. So, I mean, the silver lining is maybe you can get 3 times more. Employees can also file a criminal case under the provisions of the Indian Penal Code, which you may have already done by going to a police station. If you are an employee who's at a managerial level, you can file a summary suit under the Civil Procedure Code, Order 37. Steps to recover money. Step 1, a legal notice should be sent to the employer's office. Step 2, if the employer does not pay up after sending the legal notice, the employee can approach the police and file a cheating case with all the proof. Hopefully you've done that. Step 3 says if the filing of a complaint is not fruitful, an employee can proceed with the suit in front of the labor court, which I would recommend doing as well. They have a couple case laws here. So in the first one, the court held that non-payment of wages to the employee is a violation of the right guaranteed under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Payment of wages which are due is a fundamental right of the employees. Non-payment of due wages infringes on the right of people to live with dignity, which is an important facet of Article 21. And the people at the Hyderabad office can argue this. 6 months is a very long time to not get paid, and it can literally make you become homeless. All of your electricity, everything could be shut off. You know, like you don't have food to eat. You literally depend on your paycheck for everything in life. So 6 months is definitely them infringing on the right of people to live with dignity. I feel like this is something that you might want to take note of. Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. In the next case, the court held that non-payment of wages is unpardonable. Extracting and exploiting the workers and not paying them the due amount is inhuman and is short of basic human dignity and decency, which every person has a right to live. Agreed 100%. So there are a lot of laws within the fabric of Indian law jurisprudence which protects the interest of the employees. The interests of the employees need to be protected because the working sector needs to be a level playing field. If this is not the case, then there will be an unequal distribution of power, which will further lead to inequalities. This will lead to the infringement of the Constitution, which has to be avoided at all costs. Couldn't agree more. So punishment for Ash. Punishment of fraud is mentioned in section 447 of Companies Act of 2013. So take note of that. An imprisonment for not less than 6 months, so at least 6 months in prison, and up to 10 years. Fine equal to the amount involved in fraud, which may extend up to 3 times of the fraud amount. Section 447 of Companies Act defines the further process of punishment. Criminal case can be filed against the company under various sections of the Indian Penal Code. So I'll say, Ash is in big trouble. Big trouble. It's not looking good for him. It sounds like if you don't pay your employees in India, you get 6 months in prison, especially if you're committing fraud, which OnPassive is already being looked into for committing fraud by the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. So I don't think it would be that hard for the people in India to prove that it's fraud as well. Also, the fact that the Bank of India has let out a statement telling everyone not to use OnPassive. So things are not looking good. They're not looking good. I'm interested to see what people have to say about all of this. I hope that this can ease some people's minds. I know a lot of you out here, like me, you got very upset and very passionate about the fact that there were 500 employees in Hyderabad not getting paid right now, 200 of them going on strike. As talked about in the video I released, the other 300 are very scared to speak up. They are being threatened with their background checks being ruined if they do. And so I hope that knowing that there are avenues that they can take in order to get their money back, and that we can come to a better solution for this. Maybe several of you thought that, India might not have the same laws or similar laws that we have about employees getting paid. So you got very upset and worried. I'm trying to give you the silver lining. The silver lining is that if they do prove fraud here, they might be paid 3 times the amount owed to them. That's good. And of course, then the silver lining that there is all kinds of things that they can do, like a labor board that they can turn to if Ash continues to screw them over in future. And it's just kind of interesting to know that they might take it a little more seriously than we do here, because Ash might get 6 months in jail for this. And if not him, then maybe the manager at that office. So if you're the manager at the Hyderabad office and you're in charge of paying these employees, but you have to go to Ash and Ash is the one screwing you around, you better make sure that you got paperwork showing that he's the one responsible and that it's not you. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at 6 months to 10 years in jail instead of him. Just, something to think about. Hopefully this eases your minds a bit. It's still very angering. Yes, I agree. And if there was ever a good time to be mad at OnPassive, it is now. But it's not a dead end for these employees. They aren't going to be made to pick it out there for months on end and still not see a payment. Hopefully the police there are looking into fraud and they can go that avenue and then get 3 times the amount owed to them. But hopefully next week we'll come on here and there'll be a new article saying that all of the employees were paid. Everything's on the up and up. The site is going to be turned back on momentarily. The new O Connect is out and it's better than ever. Everyone's being paid their commissions. Yep, that's what will happen, right? Thank you so much to all of you who support me on this journey of trying to hold these people accountable for the scam that they're weaving and the cult that they're trying to create. Been pretty successful, so we're going to keep covering it. Let me know what you think about all of this down below. Go and check out the Behind MLM article and leave a comment. Let us know what you think over there too. I love all of you, and I hope that you all have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous rest of your day. Mwah! Bye! It then says company's fraudulent intention. And this is very interesting. It says the employer can be imprisoned for a period of 6 months.
Queen of karma, spitting fire like a dragon, torture scams, ain't no lagging. Expose the villains, no chillin', she real, stay killing. Manipulation tactics, break it down like fractions. Watch your videos, gain traction, mind in action. Sub to her channel, truth candle burning bright, illuminating dark corners, bringing scams to light. Queen of karma, grinding day and night, unveil the schemes, make the world right. My mentality, she dissecting the madness, all some realness. Teach you how to stop the fakes, dodging all the ill stress. Her words piercing like arrows, no shadows. Follow her lead, avoid the gallows. Stay woke, folks, don't get caught in the hype. Queen of karma got that insight, clear sight. Deflect the con, scam alarms, bringing sheep fight. Wisdom flowing, unmasking the night. Karma queen, her reign supreme, scammers nightmare, that's her theme. She got the strategy, breaking down your fantasies. Every tactic she witnessed, break free from the sickness. Channel wisdom, slickness, ain't no hit or miss. Sub to her channel, truth candle burning bright, illuminating dark corners, bringing scams to light. Queen of karma, grinding day and night, unveil the schemes, make the